Good morning, everybody. Got some coffee here. Oh, it's one of those mornings, and I want to thank everybody for sending me links to this breaking news. And what has happened is a JW. He's probably an elder, possibly a ministerial servant, because he was conducting a meeting at the Kingdom Hall. So I would assume like an elder. He has bludgeoned a sister in his congregation to death. And I mean, to me, this is so senseless and so stupid. But like Mike has mentioned many times, JWs, even ex-JWs, that anger and hate is right below the surface. I mean, just nothing sets them off. All right, I'm going to put the links down to all of this. Now, several of you have sent me links to a video on YouTube where the news mentioned this, and it has been taken down. I don't know if it's content, graphic, whatever, but it is on Twitter, so I'm going to post the link to the video on Twitter. It looks like it is the media, report, or the police released the video, because the sister, let's see, her name was Sharon Gordon. She had put up cameras, and so most of this is on camera, and I'm going to show some still shots and pictures and video and stuff. And this article here, link below, BBC, builder Peter Norgrove jailed for killing client in Extension Row. Now, they call it an extension. Here in the United States, we call it an addition onto the house. So, yeah. But first, let me play the video that is connected with these articles.
The fact that the only reason Mom had trust in that person being in her home was because they supposedly shared the same faith, and Mom felt that comfortable for him to be there despite issues and problems that he had caused her for months. Because if we serve the same God in the same way, what issue could there be? So to know what he's done, I just feel deceived. She was deceived. I mean, this man hid what he used to kill my mother in his own family's wheelie bin. I don't understand how anyone can imagine doing that to your own family. This man deceived a lot of people, the congregation, his own family, ultimately my mother. And I think he had the security net of, I'm in this faith, I'm in this congregation, and you can hide behind that. You can hide who you really are, the person you really truly are. And that's what I'm saying about being deceived. I use the phrase of a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I use that phrase because of my upbringing and where I'm coming from, and the faith that my mum was in, because that's exactly what he's been able to do.
So that is the daughter, and it is horrific. It's horrific. I probably won't even mention all the details, but a builder who bludgeoned his client to death with a hammer in a row over her new extension has been jailed for at least 15 years for murder. Now, this happened back in this past summer, July, I believe. Yes, July 20th. And obviously, he just had the court case, and he was sentenced to 15 years. My humble opinion, that's not enough. Peter Norgrove killed Sharon Gordon at her home on 20 July last year. Her daughter, Ryan Brown, said Norgrove acted like a wolf in sheep's clothing, like you just heard, after earning her trust at the church they attended in Dudley. Wolverhampton Crown Court heard he led the Jehovah's Witness service the same night he killed Mrs. Gordon. Okay? I know this is horrific. No conscience. A person that does something like this and then goes and conducts a meeting and picks up their kid at school, no conscience. He repeatedly lied to her about the work he was doing, which took 15 months instead of 6 weeks. He didn't have the experience to be doing the work he was doing, Miss Brown said. He took full payment for the extension in advance, which we believe to be more than 30,000 pounds. Oy vey. But like you've seen in the clip, they trusted him because he was a JW. And isn't that what Watchtower always says? They always encouraged us, obey your elders no matter what. Do you trust the faithful slave? See, they're always trying to push. Jehovah's Witnesses need to trust those over them in these positions of responsibility, these shepherds. This has got to stop. I know, I'm ranting and I'm really upset. But, you know, the thing is I feel so sorry for her and her family. This is horrible. Mrs. Gordon fitted a video doorbell to her home to prove Norgrove had been lying about the times he claimed he was working. He drove my mom mad with stress and anxiety. She noted everything down, said Ms. Brown. She had notebooks, receipts, everything because of how bad this man's workmanship was. The court heard Norgrove became furious when quizzed by his client and hit her 8 times in the head with a lump hammer. The level of violence was horrendous, Miss Brown said. We couldn't believe what we were hearing. What do you mean she's dead, I thought. My son was saying, where's my nanny? He was due to sleep over there that weekend. Horrible. Ms. Gordon was found dead by 2 friends who visited her property a day after the killing, the court heard. So it took them like the next day to find her. Norgrove, 43 of Brownswell Road, Sedgley, claimed to police he had left the property the previous day, but blood-stained items were found in a wheelie bin at a family address and a lump hammer discovered in his mother-in-law's shed. Now, translation, a wheelie bin is kind of like a wheeled trash can here, or a wheelie bin like a cart, I would imagine. He sat with his head bowed in the dock as Judge Michael Chambers, KC, was told that after he committed the murder, the married father had picked a child up from school and then led a Kingdom Hall service. Like I said, no conscience. And how he could go to a meeting and conduct a meeting and tell these Jehovah's Witnesses to follow the moral principles in their Bible, be a good Christian, and how you need to be moral and, you know, don't deliberately commit sin. This goes beyond hypocrite. I mean, the word hypocrite doesn't even, you know, I think fit. It needs to be much worse than that. Because how can you possibly be teaching your flock to be good Christians and then you do something like this and then turn around and go to the meeting like nothing's happened and pick up your kids and spend time with your family? This type of person is evil. Subheading, Security Net of Faith. Miss Brown said her mother was introduced to Norgrove at the Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses in Dudley, but after being recommended to her, it emerged he was a newly qualified bricklayer. So she trusted him that he would get this job done. This man deceived a lot of people. He had the security net of being of this faith and hid who he really was. It doesn't matter what community you are in, you can have bad individuals. I use the phrase wolf in sheep's clothing, and exactly what he's been able to do. See, and that is, you know, part of the whole thing and why we keep mentioning this. Because Watchtower puts up this net of faith and trust. And look at what has happened with their systemic CSA problem too. Because of this net of trust. Do you trust the faithful slave? Do you trust your elders? They're looking after, your souls, your very lives. I wouldn't trust any of them with anything. I wouldn't even trust them with my dog. And then it goes on to talk about how it has devastated their family. Going on, jailing him for life with a minimum term of 15 years. Judge Chambers said it was a brutal and savage murder with a hammer you had deliberately taken into the home. You were angry for being criticized for your building work, which took many months, he said. Afterwards, you coolly went to school to pick up your daughter and showered and shaved and attended church that evening where you led a service. I am not satisfied you are truly remorseful. No sentence I can impose can put the clock back. Detective Inspector Damian Forrest, who led Westmillion's police investigation, said Mrs. Gordon's friends and family have been deeply affected by her death. Well, I would imagine. And do you think this is going to be on jw.org? Do you think Watchtower and the governing body are going to get on their JW broadcast and warn people? Look, there's a lot of bad people in our organization. You need to be careful. No, they're going to still keep pushing. You need to trust the elders and your brothers and sisters. I have heard that so many times. And I know a lot of you have too. You can trust your brothers and sisters. While Norgrove has now faced the consequences of his appalling actions, our thoughts remain with them as they continue to grieve. And our thoughts and hearts go out to the family. I mean, this is horrible, Mrs. Gordon's family. I mean, this is horrible. And, it doesn't matter if they're JWs or not. I am not angry at individual JWs, except the perpetrators. And Watchtower keeps this stuff hidden, and they keep pushing to trust them no matter what. Well, here in the United States, they even have commercials. Don't trust someone claiming to be a contractor or a builder. Get references? Only give them half down or a fourth of a deposit. Do not give them the full amount. Check their resources. Do your background. Don't trust them. And we have had so many bad dealings with JWs over the years that even when we were JWs, we got to where we wouldn't even trust them. You can't. You can't. In editing this, I realized that I forgot a part that I was going to cover in the video. This is a clip from Mrs. Gordon's security cameras, and it shows when this JW is done working. He's been working here for over 4 hours, and then he's tidying up and he puts on a pair of rubber gloves after he's done working. And then you'll see that there's a 20-minute gap, 19-20-minute gap, and then he leaves. Watch. Now, I want to show some still shots. I'll put the link down below to this because one of these articles has a photo gallery, and you can look at these pictures. And as you can see, why they think, some may think this is circumstantial evidence, but when he arrives, he's got his dark colored sweatshirt on, and you can see this is the before picture, and his pants are clean. Now look at this still shot that the police took from her security camera footage. He has gloves on and he has blood all over him. And then he says that, she was alive when he left. Well, you can see blood all over his pants, on his arms, and he has gloves on now. And there was 20 minutes delay between, where he had gone in the back door. So, yeah, if I was on this jury, the still shot with blood all over his pants, or I should say a dark red stain, and it still looks like he has blood on him. So it's horrific. And to think that just because someone claims to follow the Bible, they don't. I love forensic shows, and every day when I'm eating lunch, I watch my forensic shows. And now that Mike is retired, he watches them with me when he's eating his lunch. And you wouldn't believe how many times we have seen these shows where someone ends up dead, murdered, most of the time by a spouse, and they keep saying what a good Christian they were. You wouldn't believe how many pastors kill their wives. It's unbelievable. Almost every day we see one of these shows. They're either a good Mormon, we've even seen them where they're good Jehovah's Witnesses and they kill their wife or spouse. So, it just irritates me so much. I honestly believe that there is a source of life and that we should live the best that we can, be the best person we can, and be empathetic. But I get so tired of hearing about these good Christians. Just like the Bible bullies. They're alleged good Christians, and then they turn around and attack you? Say horrible things. And then when they're asked to apologize, no, I'm not going to apologize. See? That hate is right there. And so much has been done in the name of God and that Bible. Just look back into the Renaissance period, the Dark Ages, the history of the Catholic Church. Oh yeah, good Christians. So you can see why we get so frustrated at people claiming to be Christians and then turn around and do all these horrendous, abusive, murder, all of this. So that's it for my rant. And I also want to mention that we have an update on Derek O'Hare. Thank you, Sharon and Emily and the family, so much. We appreciate it. And, I just wish I was there to give you guys a hug in person. His funeral was January 26th, which would have been, last Friday. And I did find out that the man accused, allegedly, who murdered Derek O'Hare was A.J. Porter. And he was an ex-JW. And I also found out, thank you very much, Bonets, I believe was the name of the person that sent me the link to Derek's video. He confronted Leon and A.J. Porter's JW dad in front of the Kingdom Hall. And every time I see this, I just start crying. Because listen to what he says to the dad.
They turned out to be fine young lads, Alan. You're John. Yeah, and AJ. Yeah, fine young lads they've turned out to be, Alan. You ought to say hello to them sometime. Don't let Watchtower Bible and Tract Society cut you off from your own children, Alan. Don't let them. You say hello to them, they're fine young men. They've grown into big, good lads. Yeah. And Leon can take a bike apart and put it back together again. And AJ works ever so hard.
They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all good
Hey,
lads.
they're fine lads. They're all fine lads. Except for
Any
that poor little girl
should be proud of
who
them.
was raped by a Jehovah's Witness in France. She's not doing so well. No, she ain't doing so well.
He said, you shouldn't be shunning them. They're good lads. They're both good lads. And this is really sad. It's even worse because he kind of took the boys under his wing and was friends with them. and then for one to allegedly, do this, and Derek's no longer with us. So anyway, I just wanted to give that update. And it was interesting because Derek's wife told us that the person officiating the funeral was actually an ex-JW that left years ago and didn't even know who Derek was. And so she was able to share Derek's channel with them. And they said that they were going to start watching and, see everything that he did to try to protect the kids. So anyway, I just wanted to give that update. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining me and taking the time to spend this time with me. I appreciate it. And thank you to all you new subscribers. Please like and share. We've hit 36,000 subscribers, so very much appreciated. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. So thank you. You all have a wonderful day.